Good morning. I'm Bill Nasser, Chairman of the Board of the Laclede Group, and I want to welcome you to our annual meeting. Before we start, let me introduce our Board of Directors as well as our executive officers and the representatives from our independent accountants, Deloitte & Touche, all of whom are in the audience, I believe. For our directors, Mark A. Borer. Mark, why don't you stand up? Retired Chief Executive Officer and Board Member of DCP Midstream Partners, LP. Maria V. Fogarty, retired Senior Vice President, Internal Audit and Compliance with Next Era Energy Incorporated. Edward L. Glotzbach, retired Vice Chairman, Information Services Group Incorporated. Anthony V. Laness, retired Managing Director, Investment Banking of the Global Power and Energy Group at Merrill Lynch & Company. W. Stephen Meritz, Chairman and CEO of Meritz Holdings Incorporated. Brenda D. Newberry, Chief Executive Officer of Nesher LLC. Our leader, Suzanne Sitherwood, Chief Executive Officer and President, the Laclede Group. John P. Stupp, President, Stupp Brothers Incorporated. And finally, Mary Ann Van Lokeren, retired Chairman and CEO of Cry Distributing Company. For our executive officers, first is Steve Lindsay. Now I'm going to look around the room, so you guys. Steve Lindsay, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Distribution Operations. Steve Rasche, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Mark Darrell, Senior Vice President and General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer. Craig Dowdy, Senior Vice President, External Affairs, Corporate Communications and Marketing. Mary Kuhlman, Senior Vice President, Chief Administrative Officer and Corporate Secretary. Mike Geiselhardt, Senior Vice President, Strategic Planning and Corporate Development. In addition, we have from Deloitte & Touche Partners here today, Adam Krasnoff and Rodney Kinzinger. I would also like the other officers of the various Laclede entities who are here to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Now beginning the formal meeting. Mary, do we have proof of notice?
Yes, we do. We have the affidavit of Linda Guadagnan of Broadridge Financial Solutions that shows that the notice of the meeting has been distributed as required. At the opening of the meeting, we had received proxies for a majority of the shares issued and outstanding. If any shareholder has a proxy to turn in, please raise your hand and an usher will pick it up.
Back here. Okay, since we have more than a majority of the outstanding common shares represented here, either in person or by proxy, we have a quorum. Therefore, we may proceed with the business of the meeting. The Corporate Secretary has the minutes of last year's annual meeting available. If any shareholder wishes to inspect the minutes, please contact Ms. Kuhlman after the meeting. And this morning we have 3 items of business that Ms. Kuhlman will now present.
For the first item of business as proxy, I nominate Mark A. Borer and Maria V. Fogarty as directors for a 3-year term that expires at the annual meeting in the year 2018, and Anthony V. Laness as director for a 1-year term expiring at the annual meeting in 2016. These were the nominees that were named in the proxy statement.
Is there a second to that motion? Thank you.
For the second item of business as proxy, I move for approval of the Laclede Group 2015 Equity Incentive Plan.
Is there a second to that motion? Second. Thank you.
For the third item of business, I move the ratification of the appointment of Deloitte & Touche as the company's independent registered public accountant for the fiscal year 2015.
Second. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Creighton Dunlap of IVS Associates Incorporated has been appointed as Inspector of Election and will report results to the Secretary as soon as they are available. The proxies have cast the votes in accordance with the instructions received from the shareholders giving such proxy. If any shareholder in the audience would like to submit their vote on the issues now, please raise your hand and the ushers will bring you a ballot. Very good. In the case I missed someone, please mark your ballots and turn them into an usher so that they can be tallied. While waiting on the report of the Inspector of Election, I would like to share a few comments with you and then turn the floor over to Suzanne. It's been another historic year for Laclede. We completed a second year of bold strategic initiatives and actions that have continued the transformation of Laclede into the kind of next generation gas company we envision. One that drives solid value for our shareholders and enhances the communities where our workers live and work. When we were together here last year, we shared some major accomplishments, and just as a reminder, we noted that we had successfully closed on the acquisition of Missouri Gas Energy, and in the process had sold New England Gas Company to Algonquin Power and Utilities for a gain of about $11 million. We talked about the strategy and hard work that went into completing these transactions, allowing us to double the size of the company while preserving our financial strength. We reported on how we were tackling the business planning and staging the execution for the integration of MGE into Laclede while building a model that could be replicated for the future. That future came sooner than we anticipated. In 2014, we were able to act on a rare opportunity and purchase Alabama Gas Corporation, or Alagasco, and expand beyond our Missouri borders into Alabama. With this transaction, we further increased the size of Laclede's customer base by more than 1/3 and increased our market cap from $1.5 billion to about $2.4 billion today. And now I'm going to turn the page. Again, through solid strategy and hard work, we were able to complete the transition in an aggressive 5 months. Right now, we're well into the integration planning process using the approach we honed during the MGE acquisition. Also, key executive management additions were made this past year, laying the foundation for future strength and sustainability of shareholder value. Suzanne will make more comments on these. And last year, we highlighted the opening of Spire's first compressed natural gas fueling station at Lambert St. Louis International Airport. This year, we announced a second Spire station to be located in Greer, South Carolina, and there are more projects of that sort in the pipeline. In 2014, we continued to make significant investments in our infrastructure, further accelerating our pipeline replacement efforts in Missouri, most notably at MGE, and enhancing our safety protocols throughout the system. We're also upgrading our facilities system-wide, including the work that has been undertaken for the imminent move from this location at 720 Olive to the historic Philip Johnson building at 700 Market and the adjacent space at the 800 Market building here in St. Louis. As you can see, we use this year to continue to deliver on the growth strategy that we laid out 3 years ago through investing in our distribution infrastructure, pursuing organic growth of existing businesses, acquiring other gas utilities and assets, and developing and investing in emerging technologies. It's a good route to follow for a company to achieve true transformation. It communicates a clear strategic vision to all of its stakeholders, and then systematically and consistently develops and executes to deliver on that vision. The result is an upward and outward trajectory that defines the Laclede Group today. This year I end my tenure as a director. In fact, right after this meeting, including my many years as lead director and my last 3 years as chairman of the board. It's been a tremendously satisfying experience. I would like to thank all of my fellow directors, the Laclede management teams, past and present, and others for their counsel and support. I'm particularly grateful that we've been able to deliver on our commitment to recruit highly qualified board members for Laclede. And this year, we welcomed Maria Fogarty, formerly of NextEra Energy, and Mark Borer, formerly of DCP Midstream Partners. With their energy industry backgrounds, I know they'll make significant contributions in their board roles as Laclede continues on its growth journey. And I might add, they already are. I'm also appreciative of our shareholders who have entrusted us and believed in our vision. And I personally add my own thanks to that. As the new chairman, Ed Glotzbach, assumes responsibility, I believe the company has made significant strides in positioning itself for a prosperous future. I believe we have a strong leadership management team led by our CEO, Suzanne. I believe we have a strong, engaged, and dedicated board serving the company, the shareholders, and the communities. Although the energy landscape has undergone a significant shift in the past few years, especially recently, I believe truly in Laclede's ability to continue to execute on its growth plan, which will hold it in good stead in this new environment. Quite simply, thank you all. I'd now like to introduce our President and CEO of Laclede, Suzanne Sitherwood. Thank you, Suzanne. Pleasure.
Thank you, Bill. And on behalf of every member of the Laclede family, I extend our deepest appreciation for your clear vision and steady hand during your tenure as director and chairman, and for your many contributions to our success. I personally am especially grateful for the partnership that we developed as I stepped into this position almost precisely 3 years ago today. I think that partnership has been a critical factor in how we were able to define how the Laclede Group would move onward, how we would reach upward, and how we're moving outward. Outward is clearly the direction that the Laclede Group is heading today. We know our success will be measured by our financial results, customer experience scores, and safety records, and we're eager to be held accountable to hitting our numbers. I'm proud of the fact that we have consistently delivered on what we said we would do, and we strive every day to push even harder and more forward and outward on behalf of our shareholders. The we are the more than 3,100 employees who focus on delivering our promise, including the strong, focused leadership team. To that end, last year I shared how we continue to build a leadership team, including elevating Steve Rashi from Chief Financial Officer of Laclede Gas to Executive Vice President and CFO of the Laclede Group, and adding the leadership of human resources to Mary Coleman's responsibility, and welcoming Craig Dowdy to the team as Senior Vice President, External Affairs, Corporate Communications, and Marketing, who's also responsibility for state regulatory affairs. Well, this trend continued in 2014 with some significant enhancements, including the elevation, as you heard, of Mike Geiselhart to Senior Vice President of Strategic Planning and Corporate Development. Eric Loebster was moved to Vice President of Rates and Regulatory Affairs. Jerry Gerla to Vice President of Mergers and Acquisitions, Integration, Strategy Execution, no pressure, and Continuous Improvement, no pressure. And Jessica Willingham progressed to Vice President of Communications and Marketing. Additionally, we added Sarah Stevenson to the team as Vice President of Human Resources, filling an all-critical role. And lastly on this list, but in some ways perhaps most importantly, I'm delighted to share that in mid-February, we're adding to the team a Vice President of Organic Growth for our gas companies. As Bill mentioned, growth is our strategy. Our growth as a company allows us to add value for shareholders, but it also allows us to enrich the lives of the people that we serve. Every resident, every business owner, every employee, and every investor. It is our responsibility and, quite frankly, our privilege to move our communities forward. Our performance should leave no doubt that we are committed to seizing opportunities for growth that align with our strategy and leverage our core competencies while focusing on the demands of running a natural gas enterprise safely, efficiently, and profitably. It is a fine calculus to balance the two, but every day we demonstrate our ability to do so. When we set about this journey, we said we would connect our company, our customers, and our many communities and stakeholders through frequent, clear, and consistent communications. Everyone would hear the same transparent updates and messages from us. There would be no confusion about our intentions, our plans, nor our commitments, and that everyone especially includes our employees. So, as we were closing 2014, I prepared a video so I could get in front of every one of those many employees to thank them for their contributions on my behalf as well as the Leadership Council, and share with them our many accomplishments. So for today, I just want to share a portion of that video with you today so that you can get a feel of, one, the messaging to our employees, but also you too can see that list of many accomplishments. If you look at 2014, we did extremely well from a corporate perspective. We also did very well from a business unit perspective. And clearly, all of our employees did very well, which is why we're seeing our corporate performance be so strong this year. It not only showed up in our numbers, but it also showed up in the quality of the work that we do each and every day. But let's talk about it numerically just for a minute. Net economic earnings, that is the way the investors score us. And they score us against our peer group. The second scoreboard is our dividends, and for the 12th consecutive year, we have increased our dividend to our investors. So excelling on both the net economic earnings as well as the dividend scoreboards, if we're doing that well, then our corporation will do well. But not only that, we'll continue to attract investors. And that's important because when you're a growth company, which we are, as well as the investment that we need to make in pipeline replacement and technology, we need capital. So we have made a promise to our shareholders that if they invest in us, that we'll deliver upon that promise. I was very proud to be able to share with the board our many 2014 accomplishments, starting with our health and safety metrics, to pipeline replacement, to initiating and closing the Alagasco transaction and welcoming the Alagasco employees into our company. And LER was strategic and opportunistic as we experienced a record cold winter, strongly outperforming their target. And what about Spire? They hit a 5-year sales target and announced their second station that will be one of only 5 of its kind in the U.S. And we developed the overall communication strategy to position Spire in St. Louis and nationally, including a successful grand opening of the first Spire station at Lambert St. Louis International Airport. The net economic earnings for the year was at $3.05 per share. This is 6.3% above 2013. We replaced a total of 83 miles of pipe at Laclede Gas, an increase of 22% over 2013 and 102% over 2012. At MGE, we replaced a total of 56 miles of pipe, an increase of 169% over 2013, and more than the previous 3 years combined. And what about our average leak response time? It was 29.8 minutes for Laclede Gas, 2.3% better than target, and at MGE, it was 23.7 minutes, 3.3% better than target. And last year, we had a record winter delivering reliable service to our customers with no supply disruptions. We also saw a net growth rate of 1.06% at Laclede Gas. That's a 33% increase over 2013, and the first time that we've seen a positive growth rate since 2009. We reduced OSHA recordable accidents by 12% at Laclede Gas and by 42% at MGE. We received approval from the Alabama Commission for the acquisition of Alagasco in record time with a clean order. Overachieved MGE integration objectives from a time and dollar standpoint. We integrated MGE's payroll, HR, and supply chain functions into New Blue. Oh, and let's not forget, we sent 7 teams to the National Rodeo this past year. Wow, what an impressive list of accomplishments. All that is very important, but what is really our purpose here? Our purpose is to serve our customers, and that's what each of you do every day. And we as a company would not exist without that purpose. So thank you on delivering as well our promise to our customers. Well, I hope this gives you a little bit of a summary of the year. Obviously, we were very busy last year, but also, most importantly, perhaps, I hope you get a sense of how we engage our employees and how we serve our customers and how we keep our promises to our shareholders. It was the hard work of each of our employees that made our success in 2014 possible, and I extend to them publicly at this meeting today our deep appreciation for everything that they get up and do every day. I also want to give special thanks to recently retired 33-year Laclede veteran Mike Spatansky, of Senior Vice President and Chief Integration Officer, and the many years of service that helped put our company on a solid path. I want to echo Bill's comments too regarding our board of directors, and especially welcome Maria and Mark to the board this past year. And again, much appreciation for our longtime board member, Bill Nasser, whose leadership these past 3 years as chairman has been most instrumental to our success. Of course, none of this would be possible without our customers, partners, and shareholders, whose confidence in Laclede will continue to earn as we move forward in 2015, because that is our promise to you, and we will continue to live our promise. This concludes my remarks, and I would ask Mr. Nasser, our chairman, to come back to the podium. Thank you.
Wait a bit. Thank you, Suzanne. We'll now open the floor for questions if any of you would like to ask some questions. Aha. In that case, we have the report of the inspector of the elections, and Mary, would you please report the results?
Sure. The results were as follows. Mark A. Bohr, Maria V. Fogarty, and Anthony V. Liness each received favorable votes from greater than a majority of the voted shares, which is sufficient for their election. Mark Bohr and Maria Fogarty for a term of 3 years, and Anthony Liness for a term of 1 year. The proposal for approval of the Laclede Group 2015 Equity Incentive Plan received favorable votes from greater than a majority of the voted shares, which is sufficient for its approval. And the proposal to ratify the appointment of Deloitte & Touche LLP to audit the accounts of the Laclede Group for fiscal year 2015 received favorable votes from a majority of the shares voted, which is sufficient for its approval.
As you heard, the nominees named in the proxy statement have been elected. The Laclede Group 2015 Equity Incentive Plan has been approved, and the appointment of Deloitte & Touche LLP has been ratified. Thank you. I'll now ask Mrs. Kuhlman for closing statement and motion to adjourn.
Some of today's comments have included forward-looking statements. Actual results may differ materially from those projected, and a description of the risks and uncertainties that could cause future performance or results to be different than those anticipated is contained in the company's Form 10-K and other documents filed with the SEC, which are readily available. We also note that some of the remarks contain non-GAAP financial measures, and reconciliation of those non-GAAP financial measures to comparable GAAP measures can be found in our Form 10-K as well as on our website. As proxy, I move that the meeting be adjourned.
So ordered. Thank you very much.